Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making gluten-free vegan focaccia bread. So let's get started. To make our bread, we are using half a cup of buckwheat flour, half a cup of almond flour, half a cup of coconut flour, half a cup of gram flour, half a cup of arrowroot powder or arrowroot flour, a quarter cup of flaxseed powder. This is finely ground flaxseed powder, a quarter cup of olive oil, good quality olive oil, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of pink salt. Here I have a 1/4 ounce packet of rapid rise instant yeast. Here we have 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning blend. You can use your favorite brand. We are also going to use lots of olive oil to grease our fingers and hands and also to brush on top of our dough. And we are also going to grind black pepper into our flours. Here on the stove top, I have heated 2.5 cups of water. The water should be around 96 degrees Fahrenheit or so. You don't want your water to be too hot, because if it is, then it'll kill your yeast. If it's too cold, it won't allow the yeast to activate. So getting it to the right heat level is important. You can dip your finger in it and see it should be tolerable, not too hot. If you have a thermometer, you can use a thermometer to test the heat level. Here I have a bowl with a whisk in which we are going to prepare our dough. So now all we need to do is add all of the things you see on the board into this bowl along with water and get the dough going. Now I will put the weight measurements for all of these flours in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. Here we go. Now, if you like red chili flakes, you can also add about a teaspoon of red chili flakes in your dough. It'll give it a nice kick. And maybe some garlic powder, about half a teaspoon or so. Now we are going to whisk all of these ingredients together because all the flours have different textures. It's important to do this step. All of our dry ingredients have been incorporated evenly. Now we are going to start adding our water a little at a time. Once you add a little bit of water, go ahead and add your olive oil into it. Now add about half of it and start whisking it in, pulling flour in from all directions. Our dough looks ready. Now I'm going to grease my fingers and just pull this dough together in the center of this bowl. Just gather it from the bottom and pull it over. Now some more olive oil. Just grease this gathered up dough. Now we are going to cover it and place it in a draft-free environment for about 2.5 hours. Now it's getting colder where we live, so I'm going to place this dough inside my oven with the light turned on. We'll let this dough rest and rise for 2.5 hours before we proceed further. All right, so our dough has risen beautifully. I am pulling it out at the 2-hour mark. Check out the air bubbles at the bottom of this bowl. that shows you that this dough is nicely risen. Now we are going to grease our hands with olive oil. Do you see this? This dough has become very light. Now we're just going to gather it up, fold it over itself a few times like this, bring it from under, fold it over. Do this about 15-20 times. If it sticks to your fingers, grease your fingers again. Nice. Some more oil to help us lift it onto our parchment-lined baking tray. We will grease our parchment paper as well. And now transfer our dough onto our parchment sheet. Now we are going to press this down with our hands into any shape you desire. You can turn it into a rectangle, oval, circular, whatever you like. Just make sure you don't press it down too thin. This is a great dough if you want to make a gluten-free pizza crust. The reason I pulled it out at 2-hour mark is because I want to give another 30 minutes to rise before we preheat our oven. Now we are going to sprinkle our Italian seasoning over our dough. You can use as much or as little seasoning blend as you prefer. If you don't like the taste of it, you can just brush the dough with olive oil and leave it as such. Nice generous drizzle of olive oil. And now we are going to let it rise for 30 minutes. So there's our 2 hours, 30 minutes of total rise time for our dough. All right, as you can see, 30 minutes later, look how nicely the dough has risen again. Now we are going to start preheating our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and let our dough hang out on the counter while our oven preheats. Our oven is now ready and waiting for us. So I'm going to walk this to our preheated oven and we are going to allow it to bake for about 40 minutes or till the top is lightly golden brown. All right, our bread is out of the oven, but it's extremely hot. We are going to now transfer it to a wire rack and let it cool completely before we slice it. Our bread is now completely cool, so we are going to slice it. Let me show you how it is from underneath. Cut it into pieces as big as you like. This is a 11 by 9 rectangle. Look at the texture of this bread. If you like, you can even slice it. It toasts beautifully. You can slice it and make sandwiches on it, toast it, enjoy it with butter or any spread of your choice, great alongside soups. And like I said, if you want to make pizza on it, just spread it thinner than this and put your favorite toppings. Enjoy it as a pizza crust. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please do give it a try. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon with more vegan favorites.